Emanating from the Londonderry Bowling Center in Londonderry, New Hampshire, it's Big Shot Bowling. Big Shot Bowling is brought to you by Duddy Ford, Route 9, Westboro. By Diamond Chevrolet, 520 Park Ave in Worcester. And by R.J. Grosso Replacement Windows. Big Shot Bowling is brought to you in conjunction with the World Candlepin Bowlers Congress. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Foraker, along with Dan Murphy here on Big Shot Bowling. And once again, we're going to have an exciting show for you. Coming back for the 7th consecutive week is our defending champ, Mike Sargent, and he'll be taking on Rich Halas. And Dan Murphy, it should be a good one.
Should be. Rich Halas carries an average of 129. It's only his second year on the Pro Tour, but he has 691 qualifying for the show, so he's very capable of throwing the big games.
And what about our champ, Mike Sargent?
What can we say? Week after week, he keeps rolling on. If he needs a mark, he seems to be able to get it, and a couple of bowlers will let him off the hook, and once he sees the daylight, he goes for it. So he's going to be tough.
He's tough indeed. And now let's take a close-up on each bowler. First of all, the challenger from Chelsea, Mass. We have Rich Halas, and Rich is a quality bowler, as Dan pointed out.
Yeah, he's a hard thrower, just like Mike. Second year in the Pro Tour, 691 qualifying score, and he's no stranger to the lights of the cameras either. So he'll be a formidable opponent.
And he'll be meeting our 6-time defending champ from Bradford, Massachusetts, Mike Sargent. And Mike has been absolutely superlative the last 6 weeks. In fact, we refer to him as Sergeant Slaughter now.
Sergeant Slaughter, right. Pro Bowler of the Year back in 73 and 74, which is the #1 ranking this past season. He just missed repeating that title, which not many people have done that. He's ranked 2 in the WCBC rating system, and what can we say? He's won them all.
It will be our champ, Mike Sargent, taking on Rich Halas. The winner will be picking up $200, the runner-up $100, and the winner will get a shot at a 1985 Thunderbird, and they'll be going after the 710. It will be an interesting show. We also have some other bonus prizes, so stay with us, and we'll have string number 1 rolling your way here on Big Shot Bowling right after we pause for these messages. Bob Foraker with Dan Murphy here on Big Shot Bowling, and to get it rolling is the challenger, Rich Halas. Halas taking on 6-time champ Mike Sargent. And Halas whacks down 9 on the first ball.
Interesting style here. His ball really breaks and get the ball really spinning, breaks from right to left. Although that time
didn't
straightened it right out.
Enough.
Never came up for him.
Halas starting it up with a 10 count, missing his spare. Halas with an average of a 129.
See on your screen, he was 33rd in our ranking system this past season.
Yes! Oh, almost got them all, but that 8-pin. Thought he had it.
8-pin with a roadblock. Well, I think he can just barely see it.
Tony Zernicke down making the call. Everything's in play. Out on the pin plate.
It's going by it. Nice shot.
Oh, nice shot for the spare by Halas. Halas with a 10 and then a spare. And here's Sergeant Slaughter. Mike Sargent, 6-time champ.
Wants that 7 to go.
Sargent, back in '84, won the Mass State Championship. Nice try by Mike. Gary Duff, Peter Flynn, Mike Morrill, and Jim Putney. Some quality bowlers he beat, Dan Murphy.
He certainly has, and he keeps rolling along. Some matches he jumped out in front, kept the lead. He's come from behind. He's got that mark on the last box when he needed it. And just incredible, the last 2 weeks is right down to the final ball.
Mike Sargent hoping to pick up the title for the 7th consecutive week. Sargent eyeballing the situation. Kisses it goodbye for the spare. Both bowlers with identical scores. 10 and then spare. Halas filling in on his spare. The winner of this show will be $200 richer. A count of an 8 on the mark. Plus the winner gets a shot at the 7-10 lead. And if he converts, he'll win himself a Thunderbird. A spare by the Hawk. Let's watch it again.
3 and 5. Now he controls his break on a ball with a little more speed. That ball almost broke far left on him.
Halas has been bowling candle pins for a quarter of a century. And he blows them all down for the strike. Halas coming up with a big ball. Here it is again.
Very easily could have had 4 in a row. Nice ball here, breaks into the 1-3 pocket. Nice looking ball.
And Sargent comes back and drops a half dozen. So he now trails it. Halas with 3 marks in a row. Last week, en route to the victory over Putney, Sargent had strings of 104. Then he climbed to a 140. And then had a 138 for a 382. Putney had a 373. Sargent picked up 4 strikes and 10 spares.
I'd like to mention that Mike was down by 19 going into that final string last week.
Right after it.
Sargent with a 34 after 3. Sargent looking down at what you see right now on your screen. What you see is what he's going to shoot at.
3-6-10 with a 7-pin over in the corner. Trying to split the 3 and the 6. Now he actually went inside trying to carry the ball off the 3 into that piece of wood in front of the 7, but didn't work.
Sargent has seen the 7-10 standing the last 6 weeks. He's gone after it 6 times to no avail. If he whacks it down, or if the winner of the show whacks it down, they'll ride out of here in a 1985 Thunderbird.
And Mike is doing the same thing he did last week. He's leaving a lot of pins standing after that 3rd ball. That's going to catch up with you sooner or later.
Halas brings them all down but 1.
Raise a 6-pin. Now with his ball breaking from right to left like as sharp as it does, he's really going to have to keep the speed up on the ball. Otherwise he'll break far left and miss that 6-pin. Yes.
You called it, Dan Murphy. A strike 9, 67 after 4 on the score sheet for Rich Halas. Halas now with a 77 in the first string at the midway point as he turns the corner and moves into box number 6 or frame number 6, whichever you prefer.
Off to a great start. Could be a lot better than he is. He missed a single in the first box and missed a single in the 5th.
Halas with a strike and a couple of spares so far. Sargent has 1 spare, picked it up in the 2nd box. A spare is 6. Yeah! Oh, I want to peek at that baby again.
Boy, 4 horsemen to the left with a 10-pin.
Here it is.
Piece of wood in behind the 1 and the 2, and he splits the 1 and the 2 perfectly.
Sargent back live gets the strike. Oh, the pins are flying, baby.
Same ball, Michael, same ball.
Sargent looking for the double.
Oh, it's nice to see that 9-pin go. Leaves himself to 1, 2, and a 4.
Run it down, Michael, run it down.
It's almost as somebody gets a few marks in front of Mike, he wakes him up a little bit. Puts the throttle down.
It's a spare on the strike. Mike Sargent on replay.
1, 2, and a 4, and splits the 1 and the 2.
Look at that body English he gives it.
Yeah, he knows he had it when he threw the ball.
Now Halas is working on a spare.
Halas is over in the 1-2 pocket that time, leaving 3, 6, and 10.
Halas fills it with a 7. Halas with another spare. My God. Oh,
Very
man,
easily could
pretty
have had
shot.
all spares or strikes all the way down.
Halas with 1 strike and 4 spares here in the first string as he goes after 6-time champ Mike Sargent. The king is still standing. Hail the king.
The 5-pin. buried the ball in the 1-3 pocket. Everything went around the 5. Nothing ever touched it.
Another spear for Halas. 5 spears now. He's smoking.
Certainly is. He's on fire. Throwing with a lot of confidence. Like Mike said last week, it's not easy. Each week it gets tougher.
Sargent spanks down a half dozen as he fills in his spare. He's going to try to lasso the 4 horsemen. Get them all! Another spare for Sargent.
Showing the replay. 1, 2, 4, and 7. 4 horsemen to the left. Just like the book says.
That's all she wrote. Sargent, both of his spears so far, he's filled with 6s.
Oh, break
Backdoor action. Look out. Got a 9 on that one.
The lonely 10-pin. He needs this to keep pace with Rich.
Halas is on top of the pack right now by 16. Got it. Here we go. We're down to the final 2 in the first string as Rich Halas and Mike Sargent do candlepin battle here on Big Shot Bowling.
It's an incredible first game.
A drop of 9. It's his second spare 9 in a row. A 132. Get it. Kissed it goodbye.
He's playing that fine line. If he didn't keep that speed up, the ball almost broke left and went by that 5-pin.
1 strike and 6 spares for Rich Hawk Halas. Chelsea, Massachusetts is his hometown. Halas is splashing them all down. The 1 and the 10 left with some lumber. To tell you how to play it, here's my expert, Dan Murphy.
Okay, object pin is naturally the head pin. He either wants to hit the head pin, have that go down and carry the 7, or the ball. Oh, he went by way left.
The best string ever here on Big Shot Bowling, a 158 so far. And now it's a 159. That's recorded by Rich Halas with a 159. Mike Sargent had a 158 in the opening show back on June 1st. Here's Sargent. Sargent bringing down 7 on his spare. An outstanding 159 for Rich Halas in the first string.
3, 7, and 9. He's going to play the wood out in front of the 3 and hope that carries the 7 and the 9.
Sargent! Hey, he scrambled them up. Whoa!
Nice shot. He had to go real low in that wood.
Here it is again.
If he comes high in this wood, he leaves the 9-pin standing. He goes nice and low, off the wall, carries the 9 and a 7. Nice shot.
And he fills it with half a house of 5. Halas is going to win the first string. And he'll be doing his problem shot. And what is that, Dan Murphy?
Oh, he's got a tough one. He's got to throw 1 ball and leave the 2, 4, 6, and 3. He's got to chop out the middle plus the 7 and 10 pin.
And a 9 box and a 138 on the board for 6-time champ Mike Sargent. So after 1 string, Sargent with a 138 and the challenger Halas with a 159 will be rolling back for the problem shot and string number 2 on Big Shot Bowling right after we pause.
Network, we deliver.
Okay, by virtue of winning the first game, Rich Halas has to throw 1 ball, leave the 2, 4, 6, and 3. He's got to go right down the middle. And no.
No go. Well, if he converted, he would have picked himself up a $250 gift certificate, compliments of 6 Gun Productions. The president of 6 Gun Productions is John E. Liggums. Here's Sargent leading off the second string, and he leaves the spread eagle. Once again, recapping the action in the first string, Halas won it with a 159 to Sargent's 138. Sargent had 1 strike and 5 spares en route to that 138. And Halas picked up 1 strike and a half dozen spares. Sargent starting it up with an 8. Michael looking to jump into the winner's circle for the 7th consecutive time.
He's got a tough road ahead of him. He's 21 pins down after 1 game, but last week he was 19 down going to the last game. He was able to catch Jim Putney.
Sargent starting up the 2nd with a couple of open boxes. An 8 and then a 9 for a 17. Here's the man who has the lead from Chelsea, Mass, with an average of a 129. Dropping 8, looking down at what could be a spare.
6 and 10. He's just going to have to play it just like the piece of wood wasn't leaning against the 6.
Got it.
Guys it right back.
7 spares now for Hawk Halas. Halas qualified for this show when he recorded for 5 strings at 691, an average of a 138.
Oh, there's almost his problem shot that he needed. He needed that shot there, but he needed to knock the 10 pin down as well.
Got 5 on the spare. He's building up his lead.
I mentioned next week's challenger is going to be from the famous Zernike family, John Zernike.
An 8 box, a 23 after 2 for Halas, and Sargent with a 17 after a couple. Here's Sargent. Oh! I've never seen him pick out 1, but that he did. He plucked out the 2.
He's right back and nearly converts it for a spare.
He now has 1 pin standing after 2 balls. Sargent with a 10 count, so he's climbing in the right direction. An 8, 9, and a 10. He's going to have to climb a little faster the way Halas is bowling.
Again, he's sliding by, missing that head pin. Nice shot of our split screen there. Will it go?
No, won't go.
Someone in the crowd says, why not? Well, he hit a little light.
Why not, matey? Another 10 for Sargent. Sargent with a 37 after 4. A 23 after a couple for Halas. And Halas, you're looking at on the screen. He's moving into his 3rd box here in the 2nd string. For those of you who might have just joined us, Halas hit a 159 in the 1st game. That's the highest score so far in 7 weeks on Big Shot Bowling. Yes! Oh, nice spare.
3, 5, and 6.
Let's watch that again if we got it. Yep, we got it. Thank you, Bob McElroy.
Ball breaks a little left. I think he wanted to go the right side of these 3, but he uses the side wall, comes off and carries the 6.
And half a dozen on that one. Fills it with a half a dozen, a 39 after 3 for Halas.
Increases his 21 pin lead by 12 more in this game.
Found the bunny hole that time. So Halas leads it by 33 in the match. Halas with an 8 frame, 47 after 4. Sargent with a 37 at the same juncture. Sargent tipping over 8. Mike Sargent.
3, 4. He's got to cut the 3 over into the 4. Look at this. Look at this!
What a superlative shot by Mike Sargent. Oh, my.
All he does is cut the 3 into the 4. Simple as this. Unbelievable shot.
And he comes back with a 9.
And a fellow like Mike Sargent, when he makes a shot like that, watch out. It just pumps him up. Now he hasn't got an easy shot here. He's got the 8-pin and he's got a couple pieces of wood. He's going to have to come up high in the wood and turn it just a little bit. I believe if he goes below the red line, he may not carry that pin. Oh, he didn't want to come that piece of wood.
No, got the wrong wood.
Yeah, he got the wrong. He had the right idea. He had to come up high on it. He knew that.
Just like you said, he went too low, cost him. So he ends up with a 9. 65 after a half dozen on the score sheet for Sargent in the second. And Halas with a 47 as he moves into the 5th. Halas blasting down 8. Gold post sleeve, 7-10 with some lumber.
And he's just got to go at that 7-pin and hope he gets some side kick off with that wood in front of the 7 to carry the 10.
Cleaned off the wood and the 7. And a 10. 57 after 5 for Halas. The father of one. Best high single, a 189. Best 3, 486. Got them all. Strikey for Rich Halas. And we're going to be taking a break as we watch the replay. Halas with a strike. He now has 2 strikes and 8 spares. Sargent with 1 strike and a half dozen spares. We'll be back as we close out the second string on Big Shot Bowling. But first, let's pause for these words. Mike Sargent to get it rolling again as he moves into the 7th frame in the second box, and he bangs down all of them for the strike. Oh my.
I'm just going to say Mike's had some miraculous finishes of late, but he can't afford to go in that last string 20 and 30 pins down.
Looking for the double, Dan. Can Mike do it? Nope.
Deciding to do something about it. 3, 6, 9, and 10. Piece of wood out in front of the 3. He's got to come up high, turn it, push it back towards the 10. Will he carry? No, he's a little not high enough.
Thought he had it, not quite. If we have a triple strike here on Big Shot Bowling, the winner will win himself a trip to Atlantic City. All expenses paid for 2. Compliments of Fresh Pond Travel of Natick, Mass. Sargent with a 94 with 2 remaining in this string. Now, Halas is looking for the double. He's on top of the pack by 22 pins and climbing.
Spread eagle.
Yes, sir. It's birdie time on Big Shot Bowling.
Which 3 will he go for? Well, went for the 3, 6, and 10. And almost broke the ball right through the middle again.
A 7 on the strike. 8th frame.
Okay, it's I think a very pivotal point of this match is that let Mike get 2 of those 21-pin leads back. He can't afford that. He's got to keep it up over 20. Make Mike think about it going in the last string.
Halas dropping 9. Halas looking for a spare. In this string, he has a couple of spares along with a strike. Rich Halas hoping to stop the win streak of Mike Sargent. Sargent has grabbed it all here the last 6 weeks.
He's got the 8-pin, but he can see it. Nice shot.
Spare number 9 for Halas, along with a couple of strikes.
And that sets himself up for the last 2 frames of this game. Mike has got to put some marks up there. Oh boy.
My, he got 3 of them. He got the 1. And then he got the 8 and 9.
Spread eagle with the 5-pin. If you have to have a spread eagle, I have the 5-pin in there because he'll jump across a little easier.
and an 8. So Sargent laboring here. In the first string he had a 138, but Halas had a solid 159. Sargent averaging 130 this year. Came in second on the Pro Bowlers Tour behind Tommy Olsta.
3, 6, 4, and 7. Going to try to split at least beyond the 3-pin. He might get some help with that wood in between, but ideally he'd want to split the 3 and the 6.
Sargent trying to climb out of this box, and he does with a 9, and a total of a 111, coupled with a 138, a 2-string count, as we look at the scoreboard, of a 249. Halas curves it in, but a little bit too full on the head.
Yeah, again, he's playing that fine line. If he lets up on the speed, the ball's going to break a little too much. If he doesn't, and if he does keep the speed up, it's going to go straight on him. So it's tough to maintain that speed, the required speed, through the whole match.
Got a spare 6 and then a 9. He's at 1-7 with 1 to go.
He's going to increase his lead. Regardless, he's going to win this game. All he needs is a 5 box, and he's going to have a problem, which is probably one of the easier ones that we have in our bag of tricks. And that's basically what he has to do. He's looking at now. He has to knock down 8 pins or better. Throw 1 ball, knock down 8 pins or better for a $250 gift certificate.
And a spare number 10 for Halas in this match. So he's climbing up. He has 2 strikes and 10 spares. Sargent, on the other hand, has 6 spares and a couple of strikes. Fills it with a half Worcester deuce. And a total of a 119, along with a 159 and a 2-string count of a 278. So you can see Halas has the lead after 2 with a 278 to a 249. We'll be back, and Halas will have a shot at a gift certificate valued at $250, as he'll have to knock down 8 or better, and then we'll have the final string on Big Shot Bowling.
Okay, for a $250 gift certificate, compliments of 6 Gun Productions, he has to knock down 8 pins or more with 1 ball.
Here he goes, Rich Halas.
Oh!
No! He didn't come up with it. So he'll go over, minus the $250 gift certificate, and start up the 3rd string. Halas leading it in the match by 29 over 6-time champ Mike Sargent. Halas with strings of 159, 119 for a 278. On the other side of the scoreboard, Sargent's scores read this way: 138, 111 for a 249.
Well, if Mike's kind of come up with one of those Garrison finishes he's come up with the last couple of weeks, he's going to have to start early. 29-pin deficit. That means at least 4 more marks than Rich to pick up those pins. So every mark that Rich puts up, it's 1 less box Mike has to work with.
Halas once had a high single of a 189. He's not concerned about that at this moment. He just wants a win over Sargent.
Well, he's
Spread eagle +1.
left the door open in these 2 boxes unless he can convert this, and it's a difficult shot. He'll play the 3 and the 6, hoping maybe even to catch the 8-pin in the back. Oh boy.
Found the bunny hole. Next week, the challenger comes from Webster, Massachusetts, John Zernicke. Hey, Halas climbs out of it with a healthy 9. Anything's healthy after that.
That's right. Okay, the stage is set. Left 2 open boxes for Mike Sargent to try to attack that 29-pin deficit.
Look at that heaping high single at 228. Sargent called for the lob, but he's lucky.
That's right. I was just going to say that may be a blessing in disguise. He had the spread eagle look out for a spare. This way, course, the rule is you reset and you only get 2 balls for this frame. So if he throws a strike now, which it would be actually a spare, because it would be he's delivering his second ball now.
That ball just stuck a little too long in his hand. Off target. Dropped 7. And a 9 box for Sargent after the lob. Sargent holds the world record for the best 5 in candlepin bowling. Back last year, he recorded an 841 at the Bowlaway Lanes in Rochester, New Hampshire. Strings of 145, 228, 147, 130, 191 for an 841. Hey, what about that? Oh, I'd love to look at that one again.
Okay, he's got 8, 9, and 10. He's got the 8, 9, and 10 with a piece of wood looking at him between the 9 and the 10. And he uses that piece of wood plus the ball. Excellent shot.
Sargent now with a couple of strikes and 7 spares. Here's Halas. Halas punches out the half Worcester on the right side. The 3 and the 9.
Well, he's floundering a little bit now. He's not getting that ball up there.
Late hit on the pocket on the 1-3 side, so he has a half dozen down after a couple of balls. Rich Halas resides in Chelsea, Mass.
It's out for a 9.
9 count.
How many times it happens, though, you get a big lead, which a 29-pin lead with 1 game to go is a substantial lead. You get kind of complacent or something. If it's 1 or 2-pin lead, you're pressing all the time. Rich may be falling into that category right now. He's got to press. He's got to make believe he's only 1 or 2 pins up and start firing that ball like he was the first 2 games.
Drop down 9. Going after the spare. This would be his 11th one if he can go pin picking and get the 4.
This is a big one. He needs this to get him going again. Oh, boy.
Ooh, I thought he had it. Missed it. Game of inches, Dan.
Certainly is. Of course, Mike Sargent sitting back watching this. He says he's giving me a chance.
A 10 and then 3 9s in a row for Halas with a 37 with 6 remaining in the string and in the match for that matter. Now Sargent is working on a spare. Sargent fills it with a strike. Oh, he blows them all down. Let's watch that power shot again.
Again, it gives Mike a little more adrenaline too. He's giving me a chance. There he is, time, week after week, time and time again. You give him a chance, he's going to come get you.
The double coming up. Almost. Mike Sargent knows he wants this one. He needs it.
He picks this up and we got a brand new match again.
Sargent hoping to grab the title for the 7th straight week. Right on the money. Spare, strike, spare for the champ.
And here he comes again.
Watch out. Sergeant Slaughter has been murdering the pins here on Big Shot Bowling. Here's Halas. Halas fired. Oh, tough one.
Begin to squeeze that ball a little tighter. It doesn't come out of your hand the same. You begin to hear footsteps. It happens in every sport.
Never happened to me, Dan. Never. Never. I can remember the first year I was a cheerleader. It never happened to me. A rickety Russ. That's one of the cheers. We're not allowed to cuss. Nevertheless, you must confess there's nothing the matter with us. Give us a Big Shot Bowling show any day of the week. And a half dozen for Halas with a 43 after 5. Sargent got the momentum going.
He certainly does. Rich has got to get. He needs something with a plank in front, just to get his confidence back.
Oh, got a break.
6-10. It's not an easy shot, especially when you need it, and the type of ball Rich delivers. It's breaking from right to left. It's going away from the 10-pin, so he's got to keep that speed up. Got to be on the 6-pin. He was too full.
Tough one for Rich. Rich Halas picks up a 10, and right now, if Sargent can get another mark, he'll have Halas on the ropes.
He's got 21 of the 29 pins back. An 8 drop here, and I believe he'll be even.
Drop of 7 on the spear. Got a tough one here.
2, 4, and 6. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to have him make it. His adrenaline's flowing. He's throwing the ball good.
Oh! You almost called it on the button, Dan.
He's opposite a 6 box here. He's going to gain 4 more in count.
So now, as we go to our statistician, Michelle Jackson, she'll let us know in a moment. And Dan, you can share the news.
I think my addition is correct. Mike Sargent has grabbed the lead by 4 pins.
Sargent dropping down 6.
2, 4, 7, and 9. He's got a piece of wood on the front. He's going to have a tough time. I think he's got more trouble with a 7 than he is with a 9.
Got it!
Nice shot.
Sargent with a spare, big one. And we're going to take a break right here. As we go to the break, watch Sargent explode the spare. We got some exciting action left here on Big Shot Bowling, so stick around.
Network. With the NESN Sports Report, we'll keep you up to date with all the information you want to know. Scores, schedules, stories, and standings in the world of sports, as well as sports trivia and interesting features. Now, the world of sports is as close as your television, not only with our exciting programming, but also with the NESN Sports Report. NESN, your New England sports network.
Bob Forek with Dan Murphy, and what a turnaround, Dan, we've had in this match. Sargent came into the string trailing by 29. He leads this string by 33 and leads the match by 4. Halas comes back with a strike.
I'll tell you, he needed that.
Oh, did he ever need it? He's been staggering. And now he gets his first mark in the final string, and let's watch it again as he buries it in the pocket.
1-2 pocket, nice and tight. Trips the 6 pin for the strike.
Oh, he needed that badly.
He needs another one, too.
Yeah, all right.
Rich Halas trying to stop Sargent's win streak here on Big Shot Bowling.
1, 2, and 4. He's just
7 bucks.
Just hang on. He hold on.
Correction, 7 on. Excuse me, Dan. I'm sorry, I stepped on your tongue 3 times. I'm trying to bail myself out of this jam. He had a 9 buck, 7 on the strike. That's what my mind was trying to say, but I'm going to rest my tongue for a moment. You can take it.
Okay, up to this point, it's Mike plus 4. Boxes completed. He's opposite of strike 7 by Rich. Well, there's 4 more. He's up by 8, but he's opposite of strike 7, so we could virtually almost have a tie here.
Sargent laboring here in this string.
That was dangerously close to a lob, too.
That it was, but Tony Zernicke right there.
It's right there in the lob line.
Comes out of it with an 8. At this time, I'd like to thank statistician Michelle Jackson. Also, we'd like to tip the fedora once again to the executive producer of Big Shot Bowling, John E. Liggums. Sargent.
1 pin match right now. Box is completed. Mike Sargent finds himself down now by 1 pin. He's opposite of 9 box. Big mark here for him going into the last 2 boxes.
I think I could make that, Dan, if I was out there right now.
At least 4 out of 10 of them.
Sargent wants it and wants it now, and he got it. Sargent with 10 spares along with 3 strikes.
I tell you, when you need a spare, those are nice to have, those planks out in the front. Well, the stage is set. Rich Halas must mark.
Here we go. Down to the final 2 for Halas. He's put up a great match. Oh, my!
Boy, he moved that 9 pin. He moved the 9 pin off the spot. He did the 5-9. He's got to be on the 5 pin. He could go right, and he can play that wood, but if it was me, I'd be shooting at the 5 pin.
He got it.
They do look to the right.
11 spares now, along with 3 strikes for Halas.
Now, you hate to say it, but I think there's a good example of whether or not the guy's got confidence. He elected to go on a wood shot rather than shoot at the 5-pin. That tells us something, and he's a little shaken right now.
I'll tell you, Sargent Slaughter has shaken a few people the last 7 weeks. Oh, no! Thought he had it.
Certainly wasn't shaking any there.
Oh.
He wants a clean shot at that 8-pin. He wants that wood to get out of the way. Okay, here we go. This will force Mike to get a good fill and at least another mark, depending on if he picks this up and what kind of fill he gets on it. Very important mark.
9 on the spare, going for another spare. Yes! Rich Hawk Halas answering the call in the last couple. Big fill he needs. Halas trying to dethrone the champ, Mike Sargent. Final ball of this match for Halas. And a 5. A 5 fill. And a 113 game along with a 159 and a 119 for a 3-string count of a 391.
Okay, situation's this. Mike Sargent needs 142 to tie, 143 to win. Right now he's rolling at 135 clip and needs another mark.
It's a 7 on the spare.
1, 2, 1, 3, and 10. Oh, he slid by the object pin. Again, Bob, we're right down to the last frame. The last 3 weeks in a row. What more can we ask for as far as excitement in big shot bowling?
It's been fun, it's been exciting, and it's been colorful. So a 125 with 1 to go. He needs a mark.
Mark with 8 to win. A mark with 7 to tie.
I'd like to thank our director, Bob McElroy, and his excellent staff.
This has happened to Mike the last 2 weeks. He needed to mark the last box. Look at that.
He gets the strike. Mike Sargent with the home run ball. Let's watch it again on replay if we got it, Kevin Hannum. Oh, Kevin's right there on the putt.
This is unbelievable.
Watch this.
3 weeks in a row. He needs a mark, but that's only half of it now. He needs 7 to tie, 8 to win.
Hold on, folks. Here we go.
He hasn't got it yet.
No.
He needs 2 of these. He's looking at the scoreboard now. He needs 2 to win. 1 of these to tie, 2 to win.
He did it.
That's all he needs.
Mike Sargent gets 9 on the strike and grabs the win for the 7th week in a row, coming from behind. He came into the string trailing by a whole bunch of pins. He was down by 29, but he turned it around and he grabs the victory with a 393 to a 391. Sargent will jump into the winner's circle for the 7th week in a row and get another shot at the Thunderbird. Stick around as we wrap it up in a moment. Here on Big Shot Bowling again, it was Sargent Slaughter slaughtering the pins at the end, Dan Murphy. Mike Sargent picking up a 2-pin victory over Rich Halas.
Again, he finds a way. He finds a way. Rich had a tough time that last game. He finally found himself, but he missed the crucial single pin there in the 7th or 8th box. Turned out to be the difference. He left the tunnel open for Mike, and he finds a way.
Mike got the pins that he needed at the end, and now let's bring up Rich Halas. Come on up, Rich. Step right in here. Let's hear it for Rich Halas. Right in the middle, Rich. Turn around so the folks at home and throughout New England and other parts of the world can see you.
Yeah.
Rich, that first string, you had an outstanding 159. And by the way, so far, this is our 7th week on Big Shot Bowling. That's the all-time high. Congratulations.
Thank you, but I don't think that'll hold up.
No, I don't think so.
With these bowlers.
Yeah. What about the final string? What happened?
I don't know. I might have been pressing a little too hard. And I missed a couple of shots. That 7-pin lead I had on a strike ball, and I just threw it away. I didn't throw it away. I missed it. Then I knew I needed at least 1 spare in the last 2 boxes. I got 2, but again, the one and only.
Yeah. You made him go to the reserve tank, though.
Oh, yeah. He keeps doing it.
Well, we have $100 for you, and Dan also has a trophy. Dan, anything you'd like to say to this outstanding guy, Rich Halas?
No, I give a heck of a match. Rich, you know, what can you say? I'd like one of those single pins back, but you got the 2 marks at the end when you forced him to mark. This guy, if you don't lock him out, he's there.
I know.
Once again, congratulations. Nice having you with us. The runner-up, Rich Halas, also a trophy from George Gerton Trophy Center. And now we're going to bring Mike Sargent up, and Mike, would you step on lane number 30? He's going to have a shot at the Thunderbird. Let's wish him well. There it is on the screen, the Thunderbird. Compliments of Duddy Ford, Westboro, Massachusetts. If Mike can knock over the 7 and the 10, it's very difficult, but it's worth $19,000.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Here he goes. No. No, sir. Nice try, Mike. Let's hear it for Mike Sargent. Come on in the middle, champ. Here's the guy that has won it now for the last 7 weeks running. Mike Sargent, you saved the best for last.
Oh, that was another tremendous match. I mean, I'll tell you, it's getting harder and harder, but I can honestly say when I threw the ball, I knew that was a strike. There was no question in my mind, so.
Well, you needed it because you didn't have any more boxes left.
I know it. I seen me spotting all these guys' pins. I hope it don't keep up. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Well, another $200 and also a trophy from Girton Trophy Center and John Zernicke next week.
Another tough one. I'll be here. That's all I can say.
Danny?
I just like to, in front of the camera and everything, we have to tell these people that this is not staged. This is really a match, and it really goes down to the last box, the last ball, the last 3 weeks in a row, and you seem to, you know, it isn't, we don't stage this. We do bowl the match.
This is for real. I'll tell you, and I don't like it, but I like the way they've been coming out, and we'll see if we can get a lead this time, I hope.
Well, rest up, Mike Sargent, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Our 7-time champ, Mike Sargent. Let's hear it for the big guy. I'll tell you, he's some kind of a candlepin bowler. Looking at the match once again, strings of 138, 111, and a 144 for Sargent, and for Halas, a 159, 119, 113 for a 391. Sargent had himself 4 strikes, 10 spares, a big one at the end, and a Halas with 3 strikes, a dozen spares.
Just, you know, 29-pin deficit going to one game. Last week it was 19 pins. You just think, you know, can he do it again? It's just, it's going to catch up with him, but he continually does it, and he's great. He's great for the game. He's great for big shot bowling, and he's a credit to the WCBC.
That he is, and that's how it all happened. Mike Sargent winning it for the 7th week in a row. Bob Forick, for partner Dan Murphy, the entire crew, thanking you for being with us and inviting you back next week for more exciting action. See you then.